Hello and welcome to Galatta Plus. In this video review episode, we are going to be talking about Vivek Soni's Mera Dil. The film has a few issues, but overall, it is an intense, involving relationship drama about two messed up individuals. Ananya Panday is excellent as Chandni. Lakshya plays Arav. They fall in love and then a crisis erupts and she pushes him away. We keep waiting for them to get back together. The question is, will they? The film does a lot of things right and it might have been better without the bunch of cliches in the second half. But it does remain very watchable. That's the quick review. A longer analysis follows and it may contain spoilers.
हमारी लव स्टोरी तो लेजेंडरी बन गई।
लेजेंडरी लव स्टोरीज की तो एंडिंग
சம்மர் வந்தாச்சு எங்க கிட்ட விட்டுருங்க நாங்க பாத்துக்கிறோம்
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீவர்மாஸ் வெல்னஸ் குருஜி ஆயுர்வேத மருத்துவ முகாமில் பங்கு பெற 9500946634 என்ற எண்ணை தொடர்பு கொள்ளவும். விக்யூரா வெல்னஸ் அட்வான்ஸ் சயின்டிபிக் ஸ்லிமிங், நோ பெயின் நோ சர்ஜரி, இனி வெயிட் லாஸ் இன்னும் ஸ்மார்ட்டா.
The couple in Mera Dil are Chandni and Arav, played by Ananya Panday and Lakshya. When the film opens, they are scattered across continents. Arav has graduated from a master's program in the US. Chandni is on a video call with him, saying congratulations from Hyderabad. Something's off though. Their conversation is formal, awkward, stilted. Maybe it has to do with the visual that came earlier, where Arav pulled a cigarette to his lips and then pulled it away. The close-up granted to this seemingly simple act suggests that it's more significant than it appears, and it turns out that the film itself is something like that. It looks like a breezy happy movie with breezy happy colors and two attractive leads, but it's more complicated, and to get into these complications we slip into a flashback to a time Chandni and Arav were doing their undergrad studies in Hyderabad. For a while in this flashback, we are in a lovely rom-com. The visual language is young, there's lots of camera movement and Hyderabad looks beautiful. The flirting is cute and it's also color-coded in a way that makes you smile. And know that experimental fusion Bharatanatyam dance performance is hardly the scandal people have made you believe. But slowly the drama creeps in. Chandni is moved when Arav makes a sort of sacrifice. Aadat nahi hai, she says. She grew up in an abusive household and she's not used to people doing anything for her, leave alone the grand gesture that Arav has just done for her. He too has domestic issues. He comes from a rich and formal family where appearances matter. He says no one raised their hand, but then no one really held hands either. These may seem like minor complaints in the larger scheme of things. Someone could say that at least these kids had a home, they got clothes, they got food and they got a good education. But that's the point. These are kids. They're just 21. At that age, you're allowed to be petulant. You're not expected to be worldly wise. You are allowed to make mistakes. I mean, you're expected to make mistakes. The rest of Mera Dil rests on these mistakes made by Chandni and Arav. The conflict is set up pretty quickly and very elegantly. The screenplay is by the director Vivek Soni and Tushar Paranjpe. Chandni becomes pregnant and they both are in favor of an abortion. But at the clinic, Chandni changes her mind. In one of the most touching lines about what a scientist may call just a bunch of cells, Chandni says it's more than a bunch of cells. She feels a life inside her. She tells Arav, "Maine mehsoos kiya hai mere andar." And what can he say? He can only offer the logic that they are undergraduate students and they have a whole lot of other things to accomplish. But Chandni is adamant. She says she will manage on her own. Arav's love for Chandni is now compounded by guilt and helplessness and the need to be a man and also maybe the need to do the right thing. They get married and they play house and then it stops being a game. Chandni's delivery is difficult. Taking care of a newborn is difficult. Getting a good job during placement session is difficult. Handling the fact that everyone else is getting a good job and you aren't is difficult. Making extra money by taking a tuition class filled with cocky students is difficult, though there is a great scene where one such kid is put in his place. And Arav finally explodes. All of the things bubbling inside his head find their way to his fist as he gets violent with Chandni. And she walks out. Chandni made the first move when they started dating. Chandni made the decision to keep the baby. And now Chandni makes the decision to split up. This is a hell of a role for an actress and Ananya's fully in. As the film transitions from rom-com to light drama to heavy melodrama, she is tuned into every micro moment. In a way, Mera Dil could be seen as Thappad set in a much earlier stage of life. There we saw a mature woman who experiences domestic violence and decides that is it. Here we see a similar scenario play out between a much younger couple who, as Arav puts it, lack the maturity to handle life. Chandni lacks the maturity to see what her mother has been through in bringing her up as a single parent. All Chandni can do is blame the woman for the love she wanted but she didn't get. But slowly, in a muted scene where Chandni and her mother are in the kitchen, we get the sense that the relationship may be getting better. Chandni still has boundaries that she won't let her mother cross, but at least the woman is no longer a convenient punching bag. The most touching aspect of Chand Mera Dil is that Arav doesn't become a punching bag either. Chandni sees that he isn't an evil, entitled or privileged man despite his fancy background. She sees that he is a confused kid. She still loves him, but her childhood traumas have led her to the realization that Izzat pyar se badi hoti hai. And she puts this motto before the man. In the lovely Etbar song, we hear these words, Hum bhi sahi the, tum bhi sahi the. The film does not take sides, though it does make Arav do the penance that he deserves to do. The most fascinating angle of this messy relationship is Chandni's battle with herself to stay away from Arav. You end up feeling bad for both of them. But in the second half, we get a bunch of cliches that water down the intensity of this premise. We get a suitor for Chandni that no one on earth is going to believe that she's really going to marry. This is the kind of role that Rahul Khanna used to play. There's a dinner party with the parents that you know is going to result in a screaming match. The big rain-soaked climax feels tonally off, like something borrowed from a 1990s romantic melodrama. And Lakshya, who sounds a lot like Ranbir Kapoor, does not have the emotional range to make Arav more than a moping lover. Compared to Chandni's ups and downs, Arav becomes a boring saint after a point. But Chand Mera Dil is always watchable. The film is staged beautifully with touches like the one where the surrounding voices dissolve into an echo-like blur at the moments when Arav and Chandni are experiencing their peak moments of angst at different points. And it is nice to get a break from all the bloodshed at the cinemas and see two imperfect people stumble towards each other in an imperfect relationship. There's enough in here that feels like life. That's it about Chand Mera Dil. If you like this video review, do subscribe to Galatta Plus and see you soon at the movies.
சம்மர் வந்தாச்சு எங்க கிட்ட விட்டுருங்க நாங்க பாத்துக்கிறோம்.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீவர்மாஸ் வெல்னஸ் குருஜி ஆயுர்வேத மருத்துவ முகாமில் பங்கு பெற 9500946634 என்ற எண்ணை தொடர்பு கொள்ளவும். விக்யூரா வெல்னஸ் அட்வான்ஸ் சயின்டிபிக் ஸ்லிமிங். நோ பெயின், நோ சர்ஜரி. இனி வெயிட் லாஸ் இன்னும் ஸ்மார்ட்டா.